Alright, now time for the tour of the workshop. Today we're going to start, we're going to go to the very back corner of the shop, which is the welding and metalworking department. Over here you can see I have my air compressor, my cutoff saw. Mind you, this bench is a little bit of a mess because I just got done doing some brakes. I have a welding helmet, a couple odd and end things in here. Now we're going to go over to my welding machines. The first one here is a Miller MIG welder. It runs 75% argon, 25% CO2, and it's a very excellent machine for clean welding on steel. And I got this in 2016 before I had a Hobart 140, and it wasn't the greatest machine. Next, we're going to go over to my Miller Thunderbolt 160 stick welder. They're both on these metal carts here just so they can move around very easy. And down here you'll find the auxiliary plug, the chipping hammer, a couple packages of electrodes, 6010 and 7018, and a welding helmet. Of course, I have a couple pairs of gloves here for welding. And now, where all the magic happens in the welding shop, the welding table. Ain't the biggest thing in the world, but it does excellent for what I need it to do. The thing is, though, when I work in this shop, I have to clean up most of the sawdust off the floor when I'm welding. Next, we're going to start into the wood shop. Starting over here, I got my lumber rack, which is the overhead one, to keep the lumber high and dry. I have my miter saw with my homemade stand, which is a DeWalt 12-inch compound miter saw. This thing works amazing. It is one of the best. You can cut up to a 2x8 with it, no problem, and up to a 4x4. Over here, you got my shop vac, which is hooked up to my band saw. Right here, a bunch of woodworking clamps and hand tools. Now, right here, we're going to go over to my band saw, which is a Ryobi 9-inch bench top. I just recently acquired this from my federal income tax return this year. And down below, I got my tool belt, one that I use for construction work, my Makita 7 1/4 inch circular saw. That's a plug-in one, which I have 2 of them. And then on top of the bench, I got an old belt sander. And then over here on these shelves, I got handheld power tools on a rack. Right here, I got a router, a jigsaw, a belt sander, a couple of drills, a circular saw. Then over here, my biscuit joiner, random orbit sander. I have a Milwaukee palm sander. And then on top of that, I have a Makita trim router and a Porter cable palm sander. Moving over here, this is my main bench for storing a lot of hand tools and where I keep my regular bench vise. I have my nail gun, my propane torch, assorted screws and nails and brad nails. And then on this wall also I got my sandpaper holder, my respirator, my router mat, a Roto Zip, which is a Porter cable, a router guide. And as you move over, you see I got a radio. This is kind of my main battle station. Over here you see I got all my hand tools that are hanging up on the wall. And then down below, there's the vise. On top of that, we have a drawer I even got a fresh packet of chisels in there, but I got my planes, my chisels, and my fine woodworking hand tools. Right next to this drawer is all my router bits, my drum sander plate for my drill press. I got drill bits, router bits, jigsaw blades, and some of my Kreg screws, my Kreg jig. Next up, we have the drill press. It's just a Craftsman 3rd horsepower drill press. This thing works excellent. It does everything I need it to do for woodworking and some light metalworking applications. And then, as we move over to our left, we're going to move over to the router table, which is a Craftsman 1 3/4 horsepower router table. It works very well. And on top of that, it has a 1 3/4 horsepower Craftsman aluminum body router underneath. And of course, I got my big door right here. I just took some trash out of the workshop. Over here, you got my lawnmower and just a few things for yard tools. Next, we are going to go over to the table saw. Mind you, it's got my cord on top because I have to plug it into the wall. But this is my Porter Cable 10-inch job site table saw. It works excellent for everything I need it to do in the shop. And everything I've cut with this thing, it's very precise. It's one of the most well paid for $300 I spent on this saw. And we're going to move over next to my DeWalt 12.5-inch portable thickness planer. This I got this year on my federal income tax return. This right here is one of the best thickness planers that you can get on the market for a benchtop planer, in my opinion. It works very excellent. It's got a very clean cut and a 3-knife cutter head. Then over here is my work table that I use as my runoff for my table saw. Right now I'm kind of working on a project here. I'm trying to incorporate a storage rack for my Milwaukee M18 cordless tools and accessories here. And you got the drill, the impact driver, the reciprocating saw. I have plenty of other Milwaukee cordless tools as well, including a couple Milwaukee electric handheld tools. But other than that, this is it for the shop tour. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.